They thought they could shake the world's most powerful navy. Instead, they sent a $60 million fighter jet straight into the bottom of the Red Sea on April 28, 2025, during what was supposed to be a routine operation. An FA-18E Super Hornet was being towed across the deck of the USS Harry S. Truman. Moments later, it was gone overboard along with the towing vehicle, and all of it happened in the middle of a live threat scenario. Why? Because the Truman wasn't cruising peacefully, it was under attack. Iranian-backed Houthi rebels had launched drones and missiles toward the U.S. aircraft carrier, and as the crew scrambled to respond, changing course, moving fast, the combination of chaos movement and timing led to one of the most expensive single aircraft losses in recent naval history. One sailor injured, the jet lost at sea, the cost over $60 million, and the message: don't underestimate how real this conflict is going. But this wasn't just a mechanical accident, and it definitely wasn't the end, because what followed wasn't just an investigation, it was an escalation. What kind of threats are the Houthis really posing? How did a U.S. supercarrier lose a jet under attack, and how far will the Navy go to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Let's break it down, because this wasn't just a slip, it was a signal. On April 28, 2025, the USS Harry S. Truman was operating in the Red Sea as part of a high-alert mission group assigned to monitor Houthi rebel movements off the coast of Yemen. Everything on the flight deck appeared to follow routine. FA-18 Super Hornets lined up, deck crews in motion, and maintenance activities underway. However, beneath the surface, tension was building rapidly. Earlier that morning, intelligence intercepted signals indicating a potential assault, drones, missiles. Something was approaching. The ship's alert level was elevated, and watchstanders in the Combat Information Center began scanning for anomalies. Then it happened. Radar lit up with multiple incoming targets, fast, low, and hostile. The Houthi rebels had launched a coordinated strike. Drones approached from various angles, some armed, others likely decoys. Defensive systems powered up, CIWS cannons began spinning, and Aegis radars locked onto the carrier group. The response was swift, but that's when the chaos hit the flight deck. A deck crew had been towing an FA-18 Super Hornet, a $60 million aircraft, across the flight deck with a heavy-duty tractor. The towing operation was mid-route when the Truman executed rapid maneuvering protocols to avoid the incoming threats. The ship swerved, cutting through waves with aggressive turns. The jet, along with its tow tractor, never stood a chance. The sudden lateral force, combined with slick, shifting metal, caused the aircraft to break free. The deck crew scrambled, but it was too late. In less than 5 seconds, the 60,000-pound aircraft slid, tipped, and disappeared over the edge of the flight deck. The tow tractor followed, and a sailor near the towing point was injured in the commotion. Though they later reported only minor injuries, the aircraft was gone, now resting somewhere beneath the Red Sea on the ocean floor. Initial Navy statements categorized the incident as a non-combat accident, a technical term meaning no weapons were directly involved. However, insiders knew the true nature of the situation. This wasn't a random mishap, it was the result of a live combat scenario unfolding in real time. The Truman didn't lose a jet on a peaceful training day, it lost a jet during a live drone and missile attack by Iranian-backed insurgents. CNN later reported that the evasive maneuvers were a response to multiple Houthi launch signals. Sources confirmed to the U.S. Naval Institute that the attack was legitimate and very close. But here's what matters most. The Truman didn't halt operations. The flight deck crews continued launching aircraft, strike groups responded, and defense systems remained locked on potential threats. Because when you're at sea, surrounded by hostile waters and 5,000 lives on board, hesitation is simply not an option. This was a rare occasion where a multi-million-dollar fighter jet was lost, not in battle, but because the battle was unfolding around it, fast, unexpected, and real. The USS Harry S. Truman wasn't in the Red Sea by coincidence. By April 2025, the carrier strike group, centered around the Truman, had been redeployed to the region to respond to escalating Houthi attacks on commercial shipping lanes, U.S. surveillance drones, and allied naval vessels. The Red Sea, once a major route for global trade, had become a hotspot, and the U.S. Navy was now in the thick of it. Weeks before this incident, the Houthis had claimed responsibility for downing at least 7 U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drones, each valued at $26 million. These were no accidents. The Houthis had been targeting anything linked to American intelligence or military presence in the region. The message was clear. They wanted U.S. forces out, but Washington had no intention of backing down. The Truman was deployed as a forward deterrent, a floating mobile base capable of launching strikes, protecting maritime traffic, and responding instantly to threats. Its presence was symbolic. A 100,000-ton supercarrier doesn't arrive unnoticed. It represents power, backed by destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and hundreds of aircraft. This operation was part of a larger U.S. mission, officially known as Operation Rough Rider, designed to degrade Houthi capabilities through sustained airstrikes and naval blockades. In that role, the Truman launched dozens of sorties daily against radar sites, weapons depots, and suspected command centers within Yemen. The tempo was unrelenting, but with visibility came vulnerability. The Houthis, heavily supported with Iranian weaponry and technology, began targeting high-value naval assets, including the Truman. Intelligence reports and defense insiders confirmed that the Houthis were experimenting with multi-axis assaults, combining drone swarms with ballistic missile launches, aiming to overwhelm even the most advanced defense systems. What the Truman faced on April 28th wasn't just another day at sea, it was the front line. And when a carrier strike group is forced to shift formation under fire, anything unsecured becomes a liability, even a $60 million fighter jet being towed across the deck. When the Truman executed evasive maneuvers that day, it wasn't just reacting to radar signals, it was responding to an actual and evolving threat. To understand how a $60 million jet ended up at the bottom of the Red Sea, you need to understand who forced that situation: the Houthis. Downing drones, attacking tankers, or targeting an aircraft carrier, even symbolically, grants the Houthis immense credibility among their supporters and draws significant international attention. That's where the USS Harry S. Truman comes into play. The carrier was not merely a target of opportunity, it was a symbol of American military power in the region. On April 28th, when the Houthis launched drones and missiles toward the Truman, it wasn't a random strike. It was deliberate, a chance to make headlines, a chance to say, "We can reach you." It didn't matter that none of the projectiles hit their target, the attack forced a real-time response, causing chaos. In the midst of that, the Super Hornet was lost. So when people ask why the Houthis would provoke a global superpower, the answer is simple. Because to them, even forcing the U.S. Navy to react, even causing it to lose equipment, is a victory. Every drone launched, every missile fired, is another shot in their propaganda war. The U.S. Navy does not take losses lightly, especially when an aircraft ends up at the bottom of the ocean during an active enemy assault. In the hours following the April 28th incident, the atmosphere aboard the USS Harry S. Truman shifted from mere defense to retaliation. While the Navy officially classified the loss of the FA-18E Super Hornet as a non-combat incident, insiders knew the truth. This was the result of hostile action, and that meant a response was inevitable. To safeguard freedom of navigation, the United States is now deploying greater firepower, more intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance ISR assets, and enhanced deterrence capabilities to the Red Sea than it has in years. Carrier strike groups like the Trumans aren't merely symbolic, they are crucial. However, each escalation carries a price. The risk of a larger conflict increases. A misjudged strike, a drone hitting the wrong vessel, or an incorrectly identified target, all these factors could pull more nations into direct conflict. This is the precarious edge the world is teetering on. When a fighter jet plunges into the sea due to a rebel missile strike, it's not just an isolated incident, it's a warning. The Red Sea is no longer secure. If the world wants to keep trade flowing, if nations want to avoid economic collapse and military involvement, the threats emanating from Yemen can no longer be dismissed. This is no longer just a regional concern, it's a global one. What do you think? Was the loss of the Super Hornet mere bad luck? Or is it a sign that these Houthi attacks are becoming dangerously close? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. Should the U.S. escalate its response to such threats, or is it time to reconsider its presence in the Red Sea entirely? Let's open the conversation below. And hey, if you're passionate about real military stories, carrier operations, and raw, unfiltered analysis from the front lines, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button to show your support and share your thoughts in the comments. Most importantly, join the crew because this isn't just a channel, it's a team. The loss of the FA-18E Super Hornet from the USS Harry S. Truman wasn't just a random incident. It was a stark reminder of how thin the line is between controlled operations and chaotic combat. And while the aircraft sank beneath the waves, the message left behind was unmistakable. The U.S. Navy is being tested by drones, missiles, and covert tactics supported by Iranian weaponry. And every time they're tested, they retaliate. We've already witnessed the consequences: retaliatory airstrikes, tomahawks soaring through the sky, and enemy launch sites silenced. But what we haven't yet seen is how far this escalation will go. This isn't just about one lost jet, it's about maintaining control over the Red Sea, protecting U.S. forces, and ensuring the next attack doesn't cost something even more significant. Now, another question for you: was this incident simply a freak accident, a result of chaos, or is it a sign that the balance in the Red Sea is beginning to unravel? Let us know what you think in the comments. Should we double down on our position or pull back? And if you're into real defense stories, aircraft carrier operations, and raw frontline reporting, you're in the right place. Subscribe, hit the like button if this gave you a clearer understanding of the conflict, and most importantly, join the crew. The mission is just getting started. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and stay prepared.